of the first images of Irma's power are coming in from the leeward islands like St. Martin and Bermuda, and they show the devastation that this storm will cause as it heads towards the larger islands of the Caribbean and Florida. There has been little communication from Bermuda, but there are reports that sturdy government buildings on St. Martin have been destroyed. In the U.S. Virgin Islands, already under a state of emergency, streets were deserted this morning as the storm began making landfall. The U.S. state of Florida, home to 20 million people, is also under a state of emergency. There are some mandatory evacuation orders in place and likely more to come.
Floods have left thousands homeless in the Caribbean region since making landfall earlier this week. The Category 5 storm blacked out most parts of Puerto Rico before heading to the Dominican Republic and Haiti. Jo Sung-min give us the updates.
Hurricane Irma is due to hit the American mainland by the weekend, but it's already left tremendous damage in Puerto Rico. According to the U.S. Territories Emergency Management Agency, heavy downpours and strong winds have blacked out much of the island, leaving 900,000 people without electricity and nearly 50,000 without water. Hospitals are relying on generators. A public power company in the region says the aftermath of the storm could have a long-term impact, some areas likely to be without power from 4 to 6 months. Irma, packing winds of around 300 kilometers per hour, is reportedly the most powerful storm ever recorded in the Atlantic. Experts say it will most likely remain a Category 4 or 5 storm for the next 2 days. So far, it's killed at least 9 people on its tear through the Caribbean. Barbuda is said to be literally underwater and barely inhabitable. It is reported that half of the island's population is now homeless and that it will cost $100 million to rebuild. Meanwhile, the state of Florida, which is expecting Irma on Sunday, is doing whatever it can to prepare for and avoid major damage. 7,000 National Guard troops are to be deployed on Friday, and tourists and residents have already started to evacuate.
Right now, there is mandatory evacuation order in effect for all visitors in the Florida Keys. Tonight, this order will go into effect for all residents. If you're told to evacuate, get out quickly. We can expect additional evacuations as the storm continues to come near our state. Everyone must listen to their local officials. Listen to your local officials on the evacuations.
Irma is moving towards Florida and is expected to make landfall sometime on Saturday. The storm is a Category 5 hurricane and could be the most powerful ever recorded in the Atlantic. It has wind gusts that are now reaching nearly 300 kilometers per hour.
Hurricane Irma, a massive Category 5 hurricane, is heading through the Caribbean on its way towards Florida. If you or your family live in the hurricane's projected path, be prepared. Stock up on water, required medications, and food. Gather important documents and store them in a safe place away from areas that could be flooded. Most importantly, if you are asked to evacuate, do so. Keep yourself and your families safe at all times.
Absolutely. Good morning, Heather and Rob. And people are definitely taking that warning seriously. They are attempting to get food, they're attempting to get water, get gas, and get out of town. Take a look at this gas station. People have been here waiting for hours. The women that you're seeing right there have been here since 2:30 this morning. They were told gas would get here around 3. Others we're hearing have been told gas would get here around 4. So far, we haven't seen any gas deliveries. That's what people are waiting for. They say they're going to wait here as long as possible because they have to get out of town. You'll notice over here, if we can go over, they're already boarded up here at the gas station, and that's a scene that you're seeing play out all across this area. As we drove from the airport to our hotel yesterday, you could just see everything was boarded up. And if you take a look at some video right now, you'll see everybody is doing a bit of the same. They're boarding up, they're trying to get supplies, they're trying to get water. In fact, we went to a Walmart yesterday, and they were completely sold out of water days in advance. So people are definitely taking this seriously.
My name is Luis Hernandez, and that is LuisHernandez.
Okay. And your rank and your job title?
I'm Staff Sergeant, and I'm a medical technician in the Air Force.
Cool. So I know it's going to be a little bit awkward, but since we don't have that microphone, if I can't get to like really broadcast, like just pretend like you're talking to me way back there. Kind of thing. So if you're shouting, that's going to be like, especially if they do these kind of an announcement, just kind of raise your voice a little bit as best you can.
Okay.
So first question, let me set this up. What's brought you here tonight?
So right now we're here at the PAX terminal. We are getting all ready to get on an airplane to go to St. Croix to help evacuate patients from St. Thomas to St. Croix.
Okay. How long of a notice did you have for this?
We were notified a little after 9 p.m. to report at 2300 at the hospital. So we had about 2 hours to get ready. We were already on standby, but we were called to do this mission tonight.
That's crazy. Is that a normal occurrence, a 2-hour notice?
It is not normal, but we were on standby, so we were prepared. We have been prepared ever since Harvey, and now that Irma has been hitting ground over the Virgin Islands, we are needed there to go help the people.
And what is your role going to be in this hurricane?
My role, I will be helping evacuate patients, so we will be basically for patient movement. We'll be carrying litters from one destination to another, whether it is to an aircraft or whether it is to a safer place.
Why do you think it is that Travis wanted to get it
Travis is in charge of providing the CAT team as well as IRB's team, which is just the team that would stage at a specific location and hold patients safely until they can reach another destination where they can get the medical care that they need. So we're just the base that is in charge to provide those teams.
So you guys work together?
What is it like for you personally to be part of a hurricane relief effort?
Well, I'm originally from Puerto Rico, so myself, I have been through a hurricane. For me, it's an honor. I think that we are all very fortunate to be able to go and help, especially being from the medical field. I think that we will all feel very, very good to be able to just provide help and relief to people who need it right now.
What are you doing on a normal day-to-day basis here?
Currently, I work in a pediatrics clinic.
At
So,
DGMC?
yes, I'm the NCOIC there, and I oversee the technicians who work there. And basically, I just make sure that the flow of the clinic is good and that we provide the best care that we can for our DGMC population.
Are there any other aspects about this relief, the tasking that you think we should talk about, or might be worth mentioning?
Well, basically, we know that Irma has been unfortunately deadly for some of these Virgin Islands. So I think that here we have the opportunity to provide to assist other places, not just stay here in the States. Originally, we were on standby to go and assist at Florida, but right now we're heading to the Virgin Islands. So I think that shows how greatly we care about our neighbors, not just our own country.
For sure. That's also a good answer. Anything else that you'd like to add?
No, it's an honor. I think we are all very, very excited to be able to help, and we just really want to do the best we can once we get there.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much. I'm glad I picked you for an awesome interview.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
It's good to meet you as well. All right, sir. If I can, just so we have it on for your name, can I get you to say and spell your first name and last name?
Sure. Colonel Justin Niederer, Justinniederer.
All right, and your position in the relief effort?
I'm the 821st Contingency Response Group Commander. I'll be the lead for the assessment team that goes out to survey capabilities at St. Thomas Airport.
All right. So how is it working with the CRW and the medical team? Are you both going out at the same time? Or?
We are going out simultaneously on the same mission to get in place. We will be coincidentally located, but we both have two different distinct missions. So the medical team will be working to relocate patients from St. Thomas to St. Croix, and then potentially to be airlifted to other locations. The contingency response group will be going into St. Thomas to assess that airfield for future capabilities. If it's usable, then we'll hope to open it for fixed wing aircraft utilization so that we can more expeditiously move patients out of the local area.
So that was, I kind of started with a more specific question.
Okay.
What's the big picture? Why are Travis Airmen coming to the Pax Terminal?
We are going to deploy out in order to try to give some aid to the people that have been affected by Hurricane Irma in the Caribbean. A lot of islands that have been devastated, and a lot of people that need to get out of the harm's way and to safety.
Why do you think it is that Travis is being tasked?
For my mission, I'm part of the 621st Contingency Response Wing, and we're actually sitting in alert cycle right now for U.S. Transportation Command. And so we were first to be chosen to go out the door because of our alert status. As far as the medical teams, I think because our aircraft was going out the door and it had space available, and the medical capability is here at Travis Air Force Base, they linked us up together so they could optimize the utilization of airlift.
What has it been like for you personally to be a part of this effort?
It's always rewarding to be able to go out and help people that are in critical need, especially a natural disaster. Some might be American citizens, so it's always rewarding to go out and be able to use our capabilities that we train to for combat support operations and be able to use them to help out our own citizens.
What location did you say you're flying to right now?
We'll be flying into St. Croix, and then once we arrive there, we'll be moving by Navy helicopters to St. Thomas.
Where are those located?
They're east of Puerto Rico in the Caribbean. Smaller islands, yes.
So, sir, how does that come down? Like, how are you notified of the
18th Air Force gets the tasking. Sure. Keep looking at the camera. Okay. 18th Air Force would get the tasking from United States Transportation Command for our capability, and then notify us of the requirement, telling us what capabilities they would like to have put in place, and then we build our team based off of those requirements to make it as small as possible to still get the mission accomplished.
Sir, you said, still answering him, but you said something about doing a site survey.
Yes.
What does that kind of entail?
We have 8 people on our assessment team from different Air Force specialty codes. So we have engineers that have the ability to go in and drill the pavement at an airfield to make sure that it's still stressed and strong enough to receive large aircraft. We have 1 Charlie 7 airfield controllers that would be able to build effective parking plans. We have aircraft maintenance personnel that can help to build out and assess the capabilities for doing small maintenance operations on aircraft that do come through. I'll be there as the team lead, and then I have an officer that's rated background, a C-17 pilot, that will help to build a plan for if that is a usable airfield, to how we're going to bring them in, bring the aircraft in, where we'll park them, and build a plan with coordination with the local authorities to see what fuel or other assets or expendables are on the ground that we can utilize to support the mission. So we build the plan, see if the airfield is usable for the mission that we've been tasked to accomplish, and then we'll give a green light if it's usable and bring in a follow-on force to robust the operation to do a larger scale evacuation.
What is it like for your team and yourself to be the very first people to go into not an event like this, but this kind of event?
Well, that's the design of our organization. The 621st Contingency Response Wing has the CRG, or the Contingency Response Group capability. So we're always on a 12-hour string. Anytime a mission is designated against our units, we have 12 hours to get our personnel and equipment ready to load on mobility aircraft to deploy anywhere in the world. So whether it's for combat support operations or whether it's humanitarian response, we're well trained and we're always ready to get out the door, and that's all of our airmen all the time. So when you get used to Air Expeditionary Forces and AEF buckets, we're enablers, so we're always available. We go out the door, we come back, get reset, and ready for the next mission.
You say you're projecting American power with this?
We always are projecting American power. We are getting global reach for America at all times.
Are there any other aspects about this effort that you think we should talk about?
Well, it's always uncertain when you're going into a humanitarian response operation, especially post earthquake or hurricane, because you never know what the conditions are like. Obviously, we know that there are many islands that have been swept away almost completely by the storm. When we go in to look at an airfield, we know that pre-storm it was usable, but now we have to go in and assess what type of damage was accomplished, whether it's just as simple as trees across the runway that makes it unusable, or whether the concrete or asphalt has been damaged to the point where it's not usable. If we call in and say that it's not usable, then it obviously is going to be a slow movement of PACs and patients out of that location, and also getting the medical capability in to do the mission they're there to support.
Is there anything else?
That for me? Awesome. Good deal. All right.